not understanding the meaning of tridanda. So there's some technical things. Let us just move a little on through the purport. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the then existing order of sannyas, namely ekadanda, he still recited this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam about the tridanda sannyas accepted by the Brahmin of Avantipur. Indirectly he declared that within the ekadanda, one danda, 4 dandas exist as one. Accepting ekadanda sannyas without paratmanishta, devotional service to Lord Krsna, is not acceptable to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In addition, according to the exact regulative principles, one should add the jiva danda to the tridanda. These 4 dandas bound together as one are symbolic of unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. So there is more, but that is the essence really. That is the essence of Srila Prabhupada's purport. Let us say a few words, and then our esteemed sannyasis sitting here, we will request them also to say a few words of instruction. So sannyas. Sanyas means the renounced order of life. In terms of Sanskrit grammar, in terms of the language, sanyas is a compound word, sat and nyas. Sat means eternal, or the absolute truth, Om Tat Sat. In the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krsna discusses this little aphorism, Om Tat Sat, and describes it very clearly as referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the supreme of all eternals. So, sanyas, sat, indicates the eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead, and nyas means renunciation, that one gives up everything for the service of the Supreme Lord, to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, as the verse we read, this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, the sannyas mantra, a person accepts the sannyas order of life in order to cross the insurmountable ocean of material existence. The whole process of Krishna consciousness is there for that purpose, of course, but ultimately it culminates in, and it is displayed most vividly in, the renounced order of life. Therefore, sannyasis are always respected as being special, even in the association of the Vaishnavas, who are all special people. Sannyas is the culmination of a person's endeavors to progress in devotional service. In material life, of course, people are not interested in renunciation, and generally their only real act of renunciation occurs involuntarily at the time of death, when they're forced to give up everything. Otherwise, the materialistic people are very enthusiastic to push on with their material life and somehow achieve as much success as possible. in material terms. Yesterday I was reading through all the classes I could find which Srila Prabhupada gave when he was awarding sannyas to different devotees. And in one of those classes, Srila Prabhupada was talking about the enthusiasm of the materialists. That the materialist, even though he has no real education, certainly no spiritual education, even though he has no idea of where he is going, where he has come from, what is the meaning of life. So, but despite all of that, the materialist has great enthusiasm for executing his plans in this material world. And Srila Prabhupada said, it is very much like a moth or some sort of flying insect which is attracted to a fire. He's very bold. The insect is very bold, flying around the fire as if he's doing something very nice and something of value. So he's very bold, but his boldness simply leads him into being consumed by the fire. So this is material existence. And anyone who becomes a devotee, they understand this point, and they understand that we must put our material existence behind us and absorb ourselves in devotional service. So the sannyas of the Vaishnavas is very different from the sannyas of the mayavadis. As far as the mayavadis are concerned, well, their renunciation is karma-tyag, simply to give up working on the material level, at least that is what they think, and to cultivate some jnana, some knowledge of vedanta, some sankhya knowledge perhaps, and sit around and have dry discussions together. But as the Sanyas mantra here from Srimad Bhagavatam points out, the sannyas of a Vaishnava is very different. The sannyas of a Vaishnava is paratma-nishta. Paratma or paramatma, they're the same term. And nishta, paratma of course is the Supreme Lord. And nishta means steadiness, great faith, being fixed in devotion, devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So this is the essence of sannyas. This is the essence of Krishna consciousness, and it culminates in sannyas. Without that sort of complete absorption, complete engagement in devotional service, then the renounced order of life is very difficult to maintain. And indeed, in the earlier days of ISKCON, there were many very young men who tried to accept the sannyas order of life, but because they were not able to maintain their complete engagement in devotional service, so unfortunately many of them fell away. Excuse me. So yes, that paratma-nishta, that being completely fixed in service to Paratma, the Supreme Soul, Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the essence. That is the essence of sannyas. To have the mind, first and foremost, the mind fully engaged in remembering Krishna, hearing about Krishna, talking about Krishna, preaching about Krishna. And in this way, keeping oneself, one's senses controlled and keeping fixed on the transcendental platform. In one of those classes that I was reading yesterday, Srila Prabhupada talking about accepting sannyas, Srila Prabhupada gave an example. He said, just like some person may become very absorbed in his work, a material type of example. A person may become so absorbed in his work, thinking about it, executing the work in his office, that his friend may come in and he may not see his friend, he may not hear his friend, he may be oblivious to the presence of his friend because he's so absorbed in his work. But then he notices his friend, and Srila Prabhupada says that then he says, oh, I didn't notice you, I didn't see you there. So Srila Prabhupada is giving this as an example specifically in regard to the type of consciousness that a devotee must have in order to successfully execute life as a sannyasi, to execute the sannyas ashram. One must be completely absorbed like that in devotional service of so many types. And in this way, the devotee becomes free from the entanglements of material life. And again, to refer back to that verse from the 11th canto, the Sanyas mantra, in that particular verse, the devotee is praying, the Avanti Brahmin devotee is praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and particularly, specifically, he is addressing the Lord as Mukunda. Mukunda, of course, means the giver of liberation. And in this respect of remaining completely fixed in devotional service and remaining free from the influence of the material nature, then certainly the mercy of the Supreme Lord as Mukunda, the giver of liberation, is very, very important, is essential. That by remaining engaged fully, the sannyasi experiences freedom, a wonderful feeling of freedom from the influence of the material nature. So Srila Prabhupada, in this regard, in one other of those lectures, Srila Prabhupada quotes from the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, a verse which in fact Prahladananda Maharaj quoted this morning in his Srimad Bhagavatam class. Lord Shiva is speaking to Parvati and glorifying Chitraketu. Narayana parasarve nakutaschana bibyati swarga pavarga narlakeshu apitulyarta darshana. So Lord Shiva, well, Parvati has just cursed Chitraketu, and Chitraketu has reacted to the curse in a very amazing way. He has not cried and become very disturbed. He has not pleaded, please remove the curse. Nothing of that sort. He simply accepted it and offered some prayers and walked away. So Lord Shiva expresses to Parvati his appreciation and indeed his amazement. How extraordinary the devotees are. They're so fully engaged in devotional service to Lord Narayan, to Lord Krishna, to Lord Mukunda, that any material considerations do not matter to them. So he says, Swarga, Apavarga, Narakeshu, Apitulyata Darshana, that for the devotees, it doesn't matter. Swarga, if they go to the heavenly planets, Apavarga, if they achieve liberation, or even Narak, even if they go to hell, it really doesn't matter, because they're free. And Prabhupada is applying this in that class to the sannyasis. He's giving sannyas to one devotee. So Prabhupada is making the point. The devotee, the sannyasi, can go anywhere to preach Krishna consciousness, because the devotee is completely free. The sannyasi is completely free from these different types of material considerations. What is my situation here? Is it nice or not nice? As long as I can be engaged in devotional service, particularly preaching, then any situation is fine. Heaven, hell, anything, it doesn't matter. So a sannyasi situated nicely in Krishna consciousness experiences this type of freedom in the preaching mission of Lord Chaitanya. Which brings us to the specific mode of living, the specific way of life of a sannyasi in ISKCON, in the movement of Lord Chaitanya. In actually a couple of those lectures of Srila Prabhupada's, while he was giving sannyas, Srila Prabhupada referred to the example of Lord Chaitanya, how he took sannyas. And Lord Chaitanya, he had a very beautiful wife, a very loving mother, and they are both wonderful devotees. And he was born in a very wonderful family. His father was Jagannath Mishra, and Leelamba Chakravarti was there on his mother's side. And he himself was already engaged in devotional service. He had organized the very massive Harinam Sankirtan up to the place of the Chandkazi, and convinced the Chandkazi to allow the Sankirtan movement to go on. So he was already practicing Krishna consciousness successfully. And he was a famous scholar. He defeated Keshav Kashmiri. So why bother taking sannyas? But he did. Lord Chaitanya did take the trouble to accept the sannyas order. And in that regard, Srila Prabhupada quotes another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, if you'll allow me to read it. It's 11.5.34. Tyakva sadustya surepsita raja lakshmin dharmishta arya vachasa yadagada ranyam mayam rigam dayitaepsitam anvadavad vande mahapurushate charanaravinda. O Mahapurusha, I worship your lotus feet. You gave up the association of the goddess of fortune and all her opulence, which is most difficult to renounce, and is hankered after by even the great demigods. Being the most faithful follower of the path of religion, you thus left for the forest in obedience to a Brahmin's curse. Out of sheer mercifulness, you chased after the fallen conditioned souls who are always in pursuit of the false enjoyment of illusion, and at the same time you engaged in searching out your own desired object, Lord Shamsundar. So this is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.34, but our acharyas and Srila Prabhupada, they accept that it is referring to Lord Chaitanya, how he left home, even though his wife was the goddess of fortune herself. Vishnu Priya is none other than the goddess of fortune, but still he left her. Maya Mrigam Dayataye, the verse says, and Prabhupada translates, out of sheer mercifulness, simply out of mercifulness, to deliver the Maya Mrigam, the bewildered, conditioned souls in this Kali Yuga. Lord Chaitanya left all of that, accepted the sannyas order of life, to preach and save the fallen conditioned souls. So that is our sannyas in the ISKCON movement. In ISKCON, our sannyasis are preachers. There are different types of sannyasis. You may have read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gadadhar Pandit from the Panchatattva. He's described as being a Kshetra sannyasi. He was in the renounced order of life, but he simply remained in Jagannath Puri, in that sacred place. And that was his vow. But in ISKCON, as followers of Srila Prabhupada, indeed following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada himself, our sannyasis are parivrajkacaryas. They travel to preach the message of Krishna consciousness to save the conditioned souls. So like this, our sannyasis are ready and must be ready to go anywhere. Not just the comfortable preaching circuit where so many devotees are there to look after us and feed us nicely and so on, although that may be there. But sannyas means to be ready to go anywhere, fearlessly, to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya and to deliver the fallen conditioned souls. So let me conclude by pointing out that our two devotees here who are taking sannyas, dear Shanta Prabhu, who's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada originally from England, and who's done a lot to spread the Krishna consciousness movement in England, then in Scandinavia, and more recently in the former Soviet Union. So dear Shanta Prabhu is a very wonderful preacher, very much appreciated by the devotees wherever he goes. So we're giving him sannyas today so he can develop that further, develop his preaching mission further. And Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu is from Lithuania. He's an initiated disciple of myself. And he's also preaching in different places around the world. And please understand, we're giving you sannyas to further, so you can further develop your preaching mission. Let me conclude by asking all of you to give your blessings to them. Please do give your blessings to these two very sincere and dedicated, long-standing devotees. Please give them your blessings. We're here in front of Panchatattva, and we are sure that they are very happy to see two of their dedicated servitors taking this big, important step forward in their lives in Krishna consciousness. And we pray that they give their blessings also. Srila Prabhupada is here with us. We pray for his blessings. Let me conclude by reading a small excerpt from a conversation of Srila Prabhupada's from 1976 in Vrindavan. And I think it really encapsulates the ideas we've been mentioning here very, very nicely. Please listen carefully. Excuse me. So Prabhupada says, sannyasi should go on preaching, 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 preaching. Practically, I was sitting here in Vrindavan in Radha Damodar temple. So at the age of 70, nobody goes out. At least from Vrindavan, nobody goes at the age of 70 years. But Krishna asked me, let me just repeat that. But Krishna asked me, I thought that I must go. Guru Maharaj wanted it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let me try. So if I had not gone, then this institution would not have developed. So this is practical. Mahata nirvicharanam. Mahatma, they must move. When there's absolute necessity, they may stay. Otherwise, they must move. Move on, move on, move on, move on, move on. This is how Prabhupada is speaking. No staying. That is principle. No staying. I am this old age. I cannot move. Still I'm traveling all over the world. I'm simply interested that whatever I've done, it may not be vanquished in my absence. Let me go and encourage them. Otherwise, I have no capacity to move now. But still I'm moving, only for this purpose. So this is very nice words from Srila Prabhupada. Sannyasi should go on preaching, 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 preaching. So we request our two sannyas candidates, dear Shanta Prabhu and Nanda Chaitanya Prabhu, please bear this in mind very carefully. If you can apply these things, you'll be very happy in your sannyas life, and you'll be very successful as preachers, as sannyasis. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Panchatattva ki. So now we'll call on our esteemed sannyasi devotees gathered here to please say a few words. We don't have so much time, so just a few minutes, if that's okay. If you would like. If you would like. For a very complete lecture about Sanyas. We have very little to add. But one thing is, Srila Prabhupada mentions that the devotees, the Vaishnavas, take sannyas out of humility. Out of the four orders of life,
we take sannyas in the dress of a parivrajkacarya. Generally speaking, in the history of our life, after retiring from material life, the devotees would accept the dress of a paramahamsa or a babaji. But just to keep ourselves underneath our paramahamsa Guru Maharaj, we accept the position of as a parivrajkacarya. The mayawad sannyasis, they take sannyas thinking that they become God by doing. We take sannyas with the idea that we become Gopi Bharta Padakamayor Dasa Dasa Anudasa. That we become even more the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. So, if we have that idea, then these apatis, such as being male, or seeing females, or black, or white, or Russian, American, Chinese, Indian, or sannyasi, grihasta, vanaprastha, brahmachari, or whatever other misconceptions we may have, they will go away when we develop that real humility of being Gopi Bharta Padakamayor, Dasa Dasa Anudasa. Simply whoever we meet, we try to help them become Krishna conscious. So that intelligence Krishna will give us, if that's the intelligence we want. If we give up all these apatis, become detached from them, then the intelligence from Paramatma will come very readily, because there won't be any interference when we lose the energy. It will be very easy to be able to take shelter of the spiritual energy. And therefore, as Maharaj Yudhisthira told Maharaj Vidura, Bhavan Vidas Bhagavatas, Tirtha Bhutak Swayam Vivo, Tirtha Kurvanti Tirthani, Swayam Swayam. That devotees like yourself, they're verily places of pilgrimage. Why? Because wherever you go, you turn that place into a place of pilgrimage. Why? Because you carry Krishna within your heart. So we become dedicated to the mission of Lord Krishna, become dedicated to the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Then Krishna and his associates, the whole spiritual world will be in our heart, and then we'll be able to actually preach effectively the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu given to us by Srila Prabhupada. Is that a question of changing designation? It's a question of changing consciousness from trying to become the enjoyer and master of the material world to becoming the servant of Krishna under the guidance of the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and his followers. So I'm very happy to see that 2 more sannyasis are joining Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. And I think this year will be a record number of sannyasis within ISKCON. This will be the first time in ISKCON's history that we've had more than 100 sannyasis in our society. Of course, we don't only have 100 sannyasis, we have thousands of real sannyasis who are preaching the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But these are the examples for all the other sannyasis who are dedicating their lives to the propagation of Krishna consciousness to follow. So if they set a good example, then our movement will expand without limit, and everyone will become happy, the whole world will become happy, and our lives will become successful, and unlimited living entities will also enter into the spiritual world. Krishna will be pleased, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be pleased, all the acharyas will be pleased, and we'll be pleased too. So, thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I feel so fortunate to be here today in your presence, to next to a very dear friend, His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. We were together in the early days. Also dear Shanta Prabhu, who joined almost the same time. He joined a few weeks before me. I'm very fortunate now to be here today. And me and Chaitanya Prabhu, we've been associating on and off the last few years, here and there, very happily. So when I was thinking just now when Maharaj was speaking about the Sanyas mantra, when I was very blessed and fortunate in the time of Holiness Prabhupada Maharaj, someone had let this wretch take this responsibility. But at my sannyas initiation I received, besides the main mantras, 2 mantras. One was indirectly or directly from Srila Prabhupada, and one was from His Holiness Lokanath Maharaj. So a little bit on those 2. The first one from Srila Prabhupada, and as Maharaj may have read in his lectures that he's read, when Krishnajan Maharaj got to sannyas, Srila Prabhupada said, now your duty is to dance and chant, and get everyone else around you to dance and chant. So that was the first one. I took that to heart. And the second one, from His Holiness Lokanath Maharaj, he said, I always had to drive a BMW wherever I go. I thought I'd never driven, I did drive a BMW once. I wasn't very interested in driving a BMW, then he explained what it meant. As we heard, the Tridandi. The Tridandi stands for body, mind, and words. There are 4 steps. The other one is the soul, the jiva, surrendering to the Lord. And how do we surrender? With our body, mind, being, body, mind, M, and words, W. So you always keep your BMW with you, always remember them. This way we can get free of any desire to enjoy separately from the Lord's pleasure anything of this world. Nice BMW is the Tridandi. In this regards, as we've been hearing, this is the platform for sannyasi to show by the living example how every one of us can be a sannyasi in the sense of a Goswami, one who is engaging their senses fully in the service of Lord Vishnu. Srila Prabhupada writes in the preface of the Nectar of Instruction that every devotee should become a Goswami. You can't become a pure devotee unless you become a Goswami. Goswami is not one who walks around with a big stick or dresses himself in robes. That's a responsibility, no doubt. But it's every devotee, because every one of us can be completely surrender our lives to the Lord. That's what we're here for, man, woman, anybody and everybody. Ihayasya, haredasya, karmana manasa gira, kalesha, vastastu, jivan mukta, uchate. We can all become jivan mukta, above this material world of duality. Sannyasi in ISKCON, or at least we should be aspiring to this. We're not for or against this or that. We're just trying to see how we can live our lives with Krishna in the center, and by a living example, and by our words and by our actions, engage everyone else, no matter who they are, in doing the same thing, because that's the constitutional position of all of us, to give our lives, and that's the liberated platform. Jivan Mukta, Uchate. This is the liberated platform. What is that? How is that? To engage all of our body, to Maharaj, discussing in the 4 Kamaras, they explain this verse in such a nice way. To engage the body, the mind, the intelligence in our words fully in the service of the Lord. This is the liberated platform. One who is like this, Hamcha Yoga Vicharina Bhakti Yogena Sevate, Sugunam Samadhityaitam, Brahmabhuyaya Kalpate. One who is fully engaged, it doesn't matter what our engagement is in devotional service, if we're fully engaged, then one is free from the effects of the material world. Sannyasi is not, we're not attached like the materialists, or detached like the jnanis or those who are on the path of impersonal liberation, but we're trying to become attached to Krishna. And we learn that through the mercy of the Vaishnavas, how to live our lives in the service of Krishna. So our 2 wonderful, wonderful devotees today who are stepping forward in their wonderful service towards Srila Prabhupada's mission. We would really hope and pray that they can become more and more empowered and more attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus they can show us all the way, all of us the way where we can also become completely surrendered to Krishna and bring some happiness, or let's say relief, to this miserable material world. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I'm also happy to be here at this very wonderful occasion of dear Shanta Prabhu's and Nanda Chaitanya Prabhu's taking up the final vows of sannyas. And I feel like the new kid on the block myself, having just taken sannyas a few months ago. So who am I to be speaking? Nonetheless, I'll try to say something. This is a rite of passage. All of us go through so many rites of passage in the course of our lives, but a few take this determination to make this final rite of passage. And I beg to inform you, as I was informed at my Sanyas initiation, you are at this moment attending your own funeral. Believe it. Because you are officially dying to this material world. Now there's a paradox involved here, because in traditional sannyas, one is giving up all social relations, and one is going off, one is wandering alone. Like Narada Muni, after his mother left, he wandered alone, and eventually, in the course of his wandering, he had the darshan of Lord Krishna. But in our Krishna consciousness movement, following our acharyas, following Srila Prabhupada, following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we don't simply go off alone. Rather, we remain very much part of a family, that of course is the spiritual family. And as significant members of the spiritual family, our positions as preachers, we are all preachers, but we have a special duty as sannyasi preachers. For us, preacher means terror. Our business is not simply to run about wildly preaching for someone who may or may not hear our message. Our purpose is to attract other souls to the shelter of Krishna. And that attraction involves people's feeling shelter in the devotees of Krishna. And they take special shelter in the sannyasis. So as we heard, we understand, not Hambi Brahmacha, not Abhatir, not Vaishya, nor Shudra, I'm not any of these designations. Gopi Bhartu Parakamalayar, Dasa Dasa Nutasa, we take the most humble position, servant of the servant of the servant. And taking that position, we are in a position where we are required to give shelter to others. And that is why there is so much honor for the sannyas position. As we take the sannyas vows, we are becoming part of the Sanyas ashrama, and as such, we are upholding the position, we are upholding the reputation of the Sanyas ashrama. And we do this in particular simply by remembering, as we heard, that we are servant of the servant, but as carers and also as teachers. And I would add one more thing. Srila Prabhupada says that one of the duties of the sannyasi is to write. So you may keep this in mind, that you are also recording your realizations for a wider audience who may benefit from your writings beyond the period of your own life. So I'm very happy to be here to witness the Sanyas, and I wish you both all the best in all respects for your new ashram. Hare Krishna.
Я поздравляю Джаршанду Прабhu и Анандчитани Прабhu, который является моим давним и очень дорогим другом. Я очень рад, что наконец этот день наступил. Мне вспоминается цитата из Джайва Дхармы, которую приводит Бхактивинод Тхакур. Дживадая Амаручи Вайшнава Уласа Никачкара Дхарманахи Шуна Санатана. Послушай Санатана, нет другой религии, кроме Намаручи, воспевания святого имени, служения Вайшнавам и Дживадоя, сострадания живым существам или проповеди. И саньяса — это значит прежде всего слуга. Саньяси может принимать очень много почета, уважения, очень много соблазнов, но он должен понимать ежеминутно, ежесекундно, что он является слугой святого имени Вайшнавов и всех живых существ. Читаем Чаритамрити, Кришнадас Кавираж Госвами говорит: Кали Кали Намарута Кришна Аватара Намахойта Коя Сарва Джагат Ништара. Ведь Кали, святое имя, это сам Кришна и повторение Хари Кришна Мантра, это общение с Кришной. Очень важно, чтобы был очень серьезный баджан, мангаларити, воспевать святые имена вместе с преданными, вдохновлять преданных и служить вайшнавам. Таким образом вдохновляем вайшнавов, чтобы они также служили святому имени и преданным, и всем живым существам. Высочитание говорит: Атаева ани аги делам сабатара яхам тахам приматхава дежи яритари. Он говорит, что нужно принять этот плод любви и раздавать его всем. То есть проповедовать таким образом, не думая о себе, не думая о своей удаче и не думая о своем собственном счастье, думая о том, только чтобы преданные, чтобы все живые существа принимали сознание Кришны и проповедовали. Харе Кришна.
Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Sanyasi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namah Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurudev Hare Krishna. I'm very happy to come here to this ceremony where these two devotees are speaking to me. I've known them for a couple of years in Europe, and I truly believe that they are the carefully and they will clearly prioritize mission. Because in the past I've been teaching with them during the festivals in Lithuania. Yes, taking sannyas is an amazing thing. It's a change. It's just like when you are a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. The life of a caterpillar is different than when the same caterpillar becomes like a butterfly. Because the butterfly life means more potential. It means more room for roaming about and exercise your ability. So that's what happens when one takes sannyas. It means that now he has more room to teach, he has to become more better devotee, more stronger, and more committed to the mission of God. So that's my experience. After I took sannyas, I've discovered more potentials in my personality and tried to use them for more devotees. So these devotees are very capable and are willing to believe that they will expand their potentiality and do more for the Prabhupada in the international society. The Krishna consciousness, and I'm very happy that they have come to the point of taking the discussion.
So devotees, we're now going into a very important stage of the ceremony. Now, Dhira Shanta Prabhu and Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu will offer prayers to the disciplic succession and offer flowers to the disciplic succession. And then they will come and, you could say, officially request to accept the cloth, the dress of a sannyasi, and to be allowed to accept the danda. And then they will go away just for 5 minutes. They'll go away for 5 minutes, change their clothes into their new sanyas clothes, and then they will come back and receive their sanyas names shortly. So this will be the last time you'll have to see them dressed in this way. Make the most of it. Okay, so Hare Krishna.
We will chant the invocation prayers. We'll chant the invocation prayers. And after the invocation prayers, you can offer the Gandha Pushpa, show it to the Parampara on the altar, and place it on the tray in front of you. You have your chandan in front and your flowers. You just offer it and put it onto them, put it in front of you. And from here. Harihi Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Garabhavahai नावधितमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ॐ पुनन्तु मादेव जनाः पुनन्तु मनसा धियाः पुनन्तु विश्वा भूतानि जातवेदः पुनीः माम् ॐ अस्य कर्मणः पुण्याहं भवन्तो ब्रुवन्तो ॐ पुण्याहं ॐ उद्गाते वाशकुने सामगायसि ब्रह्मपुत्र नेषु संसृषि वृषेव वाजेसि सुमतिरपित्या सर्वतो नश्यकुने भद्रमावद विश्वतो नश्यकुने पुण्यमावद ॐ अस्य कर्मणः स्वस्ति भवन्तो ब्रुवन्तो आयुष्मते स्वस्ति ॐ स्वस्ति ॐ स्वस्ति ॐ स्वस्ति ॐ स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृत्रश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ अस्य कर्मणो रिद्धिं भवन्तो ब्रुवन्तो ॐ रिध्यताम् ॐ रिध्यामस्तोमं शनयाम वाजमानो मन्त्रम् सरधेहोपायातं यशो न पक्वं मधुगोष्वन्तराभूतं शो अश्विनः काममप्राह ॐ स्वस्ति नो गोविन्दः स्वस्ति नो अच्युतानन्दौ स्वस्ति नो वासुदेवो विष्णुर्दधातु स्वस्ति नो नारायणो नरो वै स्वस्ति नः पद्मनाभः पुरुषोत्तमो दधातु स्वस्ति नो विश्वक्सेनो विश्वेश्वरः स्वस्ति नो हृषीकेशो हरिर्दधातु स्वस्ति नो वैनतीयो हरिः स्वस्ति नो अञ्जनासुतो हनरभागवतो दधातु स्वस्ति स्वस्ति सुमङ्गलैकेशो महन् श्रीकृष्ण सच्चिदानन्दघन सर्वेश्वरेश्वरो दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
Now we shall offer flowers, starting with offering from the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and at the end, to Srila Madhvacharya. So there will be 7 offerings. We offer a few flowers dipped in chandan, show it to them and put it in the plate in front of you.
ॐ ईदिगन्धपुष्पे ॐ दीक्षा गुरवे नमः. Om Iti Gandha Pushpe Om Iskon Samstavakacharyaya Namaha. Om Iti Gandha Pushpe Om Paramagurave Namaha. Om Iti Gandha Pushpe Om Paraparagurave Namaha. Om Iti Gandha Pushpe Om Mahagurave Namaha. Om Iti Gandha Pushpe Om Parameshthi Gurave Namaha. Om Iti Gandha Pushpe Om Madhvacharyaya Namaha.
Now please approach your sannyasi guru, and we will beg him to give sannyas. Please come forward.
Bhoguru Sampradaya Sadhya Sadhanushthanam Prajna Asmin Bharate Samsaran Mam Trahi Sanyasam Dehi.
Our spiritual master, most knowledgeable in the process and goal of perfecting human life according to the bona fide sampradaya. Please deliver me from the material ocean by granting me the order of Sanyas.
Bhoguru Vikshurupayogam Yogapattadikam Mam Grahaya.
Our spiritual master, please give me the cloth and other items which are characteristic of the sannyasi.
Om Yadya Evam Tarhi Preshya Iti Paratrayam Pathashva Bhadra.
O fortunate one, if you so desire this, then say, Praisha, may the function commence 3 times.
Praisha, Praisha, Praisha.
Bhoguru Sampradaya Sadhya Sadhanusthana Prajna Asmin Bharate Samsaran Mam Trahi Sanyasam Dehi.
O spiritual master, most knowledgeable in the process and the goal of perfecting human life according to the bona fide sampradaya, please deliver me from the material ocean of granting me the order of Sanyas.
Bho Guru Bhikshurupa Yogam Yogapattadikam Mam Grahaya.
O spiritual master, please give me the cloth and other items which are characteristic of a sannyasi.
Om Yadya Evam Tarhi Preshya Iti Bharatrayam Padashva Bhadra.
O fortunate one, if you so desire this, then say, Praisha, may the function commence 3 times.
Praisha, Praisha, Praisha.
So they're changing into their clothes now. They'll be back in a few minutes, dressed as sannyasis. We all have kirtan for the time being.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Nithai Gaur Hari Gaur Hari Gaur Hari Gaur Gaur Hari Gaur Nithai Gaur Hari Gaur Hari Gaur Hari Gaur Gaur Hari Gaur
ॐ नित्यानन्दपदद्वन्द्वं येषां हृत्कर्णिकालये तेषां दासानुदासोऽहं प्रसीदन्तु सदैव हि
I am the servant of the devotees, in whose heart reside the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. May they be pleased with me always. the servant of the devotees in whose hearts reside the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. May they be pleased with me always.
So now we will call His Grace Dear Shanta Prabhu to give him his sannyas name. To give the devotees their sannyas names and their sannyas dandas. Dear Shanta Prabhu, from today on, you'll be known as His Holiness Dear Shanta Das Goswami. And His Grace Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu, from today on you'll be known as, and everyone please listen carefully, Bhakti Swarup Chaitanya Swami. Dear Shanta Das Goswami Maharaj Ki, Bhakti Swarup Chaitanya Swami Maharaj Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Hare Krishna.
Three times, and then you can read the translation at the end. Om Shri Krishna Tosha Matriyartham Gopi Bhava Samanvitam Tadharmam Samashitoham Shri Krishna Tosha Matriyartham Gopi Bhava Samanvitam Tadharmam Asamashitoham Shri Krishna Tosha Matriyartham Gopi Bhava Samanvitam Tadharmam Samashitoham.
Take shelter of sannyas dharma, which means complete surrender to the Lord in the manner of the gopis, for the sole purpose of pleasing Krishna. I take complete shelter of sannyas dharma, which means complete surrender to the Lord in the manner of the gopis, for the sole purpose of pleasing Krishna.
So at this point in our Sanyas ceremony, we will read from Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Achyuta Gotra Swikara. Acceptance of Achyuta Gotra is characterized by the Vaishnava markings such as tilak, tulsi beads, etc. According to the scriptural injunctions, at the perfection of Sanyas Dharma, a person should give up all markings of Varna and Ashram and wander about transcendental to all rules as a Paramahansa. But the Paramahansa does not give up the markings of the Vaishnava, tilak, mala, etc., except in extraordinary circumstances. According to the scriptures, the neck beads of tulsi wood, tilak, and mudra should always be worn, for they are the markings of the Vaishnava, one who is the servant of the Lord. That designation is never given up. One is also advised to wear during the daytime panchamala, composed of gunja, amalaki, lotus seeds, tulsi wood, and rope from Jagannath's cart. Acceptance of Achyuta Gotra means full surrender to the authority of the Lord, and is therefore particularly meant to signify the devotee of the Lord. Just as a girl gives up her previous Gotra and accepts her husband's Gotra on completion of the marriage ceremony, the sannyasi should understand that he is giving up all material designations of family, etc., and simply identifying himself as the servant of Krishna, Achyuta, in Krishna's family, Gotra. Chichi Panchitat Baki.
Just couple mantras. Om Achyuta Gotraya Swaha. Om Achyuta Gotra Aham Asmi.
I am now a member of Achyuta Gotra. I am now a member of Achyuta Gotra.
Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Agnimire Purohitam Yajnasya Deva Mritrijam Hotaram Ratnabhatamam Harihi Om Ishe Ayavasta Devo Vasta Vita Dharmayatu Sheshatamaya Paramane Harihi Om संयोरविस्रवन्दनः हरिः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
Now at every swaha, you offer the ahutis in the fire.
ॐ भस्वाहारं विष्णवेरं नमः. ॐ भवस्वाहारमच्युतायैरं नमः. ॐ स्वस्वाहारं नारायणायैरं नमः. ॐ भूर्भुवस्वस्वाहा. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. स्वाहा इदं गुरवेदं नमः. ॐ श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. स्वाहा इदं रासाचार्याय इदं नमः. ॐ वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुत पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. स्वाहा इदं गुरुगौरं ॐ नमः. ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिचैतन्यस्वामिनिति नामिने. स्वाहा इदं दीक्षागुरवेरं नमः. ॐ नमः. ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने. स्वाहा इदमिस्कान् संस्थापकाचार्याय इदं नमः. ॐ नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे स्वाहा इदमिस्कान् संस्थापकाचार्याय इदं नमः ॐ नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वतीति नामिने स्वाहा इदं परमगुरवे नमः ॐ श्रीवार्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञानदायिने प्रभवे नमः स्वाहा इदं परमगुरवे नमः ॐ माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिद श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते स्वाहा इदं परमगुरवे नमः ॐ नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्धा द्वन्द्वहारिणे स्वाहा इदं परमगुरवे नमः ॐ नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बरसाम्बोधे पादाम्भोजायते नमः स्वाहा इदं परापरगुरवे नमः ॐ नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते स्वाहा इदं महागुरवे नमः ॐ गौराविर्भावभूमिस्त्वं निर्दिष्ट सज्जनप्रियः वैष्णवः सार्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः स्वाहा इदं परमेष्टिगुरवे नमः ॐ वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः स्वाहा इदं सर्ववैष्णवेभ्य इदं नमः ॐ नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः स्वाहा इदं गौराय इदं नमः ॐ पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् स्वाहा इदं पञ्चतत्त्वाय इदं नमः ॐ हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते स्वाहा इदं कृष्णाय इदं नमः ॐ जयतां सुरतो स्वाहा इदं सम्बन्धादिदेवमदनमोहनाय ॐ दिव्यद्वृन्दाकल्पद्रुमाद श्रीमद्रत्नाकारसिंहासनस्थौ राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवो पृष्ठानिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि स्वाहा इदमभिदेवादिदेव गोविन्दाय इदं नमः ॐ श्रीमन्द्रासरसारम्भे वंशे वटतटस्थितः कर्षण्वेणुस्वनिर्गोपी गोपीनाथश्रियेस्तुनः स्वाहा गोपीनाथाय इदं नमः ॐ तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये स्वाहा इदं राधिकाय इदं नमः ॐ जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द स्वाहा इदं पञ्चतत्त्वाय इदं नमः ॐ हरे कृष्ण Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Swaha Idam Radha Krishna Bhyamidam Namah Om Swaha Ram Vishnave Ram Namah Om Namah Swaha Ram Achyutaya Om Swaswaha Ram Narayanaya Ram Namah Om Bharava Swaswaha As a Purnahuti, we request all the devotees to please stand up. You can offer the bananas that you have in your plate, and we'll put on the fire when we chant Sanyas.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Sannyasi Diksha, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON's Parivrajkacarya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Anand Culmination Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Praise the Lord Krsna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Rasti Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shambhun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki, Shri Shri Panchatattva Ki, Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Gopremanande, all glories to the summer devotees, all glories to the summer devotees, all glories to the summer devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.